Welcome to Nightmare Coming, where folklore meets cold reality, and the stories whispered in the dark unfold in ways you never expected. One nightmare at a time, one hidden layer at a time. If they left it unexplained, we'll dare to look closer. If you've ever wondered whether these campfire tales were just harmless bedtime stories, prepare yourself. This time, you may never hear the word monster, or the sound of your own footsteps the same way again. So before you lean back, take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you truly want to keep questioning, keep seeking. And leave a comment with the first scary story you ever heard. I'd love to see what still follows you. The fire crackles in front of you, a warm pulse in the deep, black throat of the forest. You tell yourself it's comforting, that the hiss and pop are only sap and air. Not whispers, certainly not footsteps. The others laugh, pass around a flask. Someone plays a low tune on a cheap harmonica. You pretend not to notice that the music stops whenever the wind dies, that for a heartbeat afterward, the forest seems to be listening. It starts innocently enough. Someone says, "Who's got the first story?" And of course, it's the one about the man who heard his own name out in the trees. You've heard versions before. They always start with a new hiker, someone unfamiliar with the rules. Never answer a voice after dark, especially when it sounds like someone you know, but this one feels older, rougher, like it's been retold so many times it's gained new edges. The storyteller leans forward, face flickering in amber light, and you catch the reflection of the flames in their eyes. He went camping alone, they say, just one night to clear his head. He parked by the ranger gate and walked half a mile to the creek, set up his tent right by a fallen birch. Around midnight, he heard someone call his name. The fire pops. You try not to flinch. He thought maybe it was a ranger or another camper, but when he stepped outside, the forest was empty. Only moonlight on the ground and the sound of running water. Then he heard it again, closer. Same voice, same tone, calling softer this time, like coaxing. Your breath catches. You've been camping enough to know the way sound warps in the trees, how it bounces, how it tricks you. But there's something about the way the voice drifts, not from the woods, but around it. Like it already knows where you'll look next. He followed it, the storyteller continues, down the slope to the creek. Every few steps it called his name just ahead, until it stopped. He looked around. The voice was gone. Then he saw the footprints, his own, coming back toward him from the dark. You swallow hard. The irony isn't lost on you. You came out here to escape noise, and yet silence feels louder. Someone nervously stirs the embers. The storyteller leans closer. He ran back to his tent, zipped it shut, stayed awake till dawn. When he woke up, there was a handprint on the outside of the canvas, his name written inside it, traced in ash. Someone laughs, the kind of laugh that's really a way of breaking tension. You try it too, but your mouth's dry, because for a second, you think you hear it, your own name, faintly, from beyond the ring of firelight. Probably just a trick of echo. Probably. Psychologists still argue whether it's auditory pareidolia, our brains forcing patterns onto random sounds, or something else. A call older than language, one that doesn't want to be understood. The fire spits again. You shift, pretending to adjust your seat, but really you're scanning the darkness between the trees. No eyes, no shapes, only the quiet certainty that the forest always listens longer than it should. And when your friend finally says, "Who's next?" no one answers right away. You all pretend it's because you're out of stories, but it's really because you don't want to be the one who speaks when the woods have gone this quiet. Morning should bring comfort, but it never does out here. The light filters through the canopy like water through old cloth, thin, uneven, unsure of its purpose. You wake to the smell of burned wood and damp moss, your clothes clinging with that heavy forest chill that lingers after midnight fires. Someone's already boiling instant coffee. Someone else is pretending to check their phone for signal, though you both know it's useless. Then someone notices. One tent is empty. It takes a moment to realize whose. You do a quiet count in your head, scanning the circle of tired faces, the half-zipped sleeping bags. The laughter from last night has evaporated, leaving only that odd sense of being counted by the trees themselves. You step closer to the missing tent. Its flaps still zipped, neat, like it hasn't been touched. But when you pull it open, the sleeping bag inside is unrolled, and the lantern's gone. The earth around it looks disturbed, prints overlapping in the dirt, like the marks of someone pacing before they left. The trail begins at the fire pit and winds toward the lake. You all follow, half curious, half convinced it's a prank. It's always a prank, isn't it? But the footprints get strange about halfway down. They start as heavy boot treads, deep with morning dew, and then, just before the slope, they fade, one by one, until the last print ends in the middle of the path. No mud splatter, no drag marks, just a clean stop, like the person took one last step and forgot what came next. You tell yourself they probably cut through the woods to the other trail, maybe to the outhouse or the car. But even the birds sound unconvinced. They're too quiet, not startled, just listening again. It's not the first time someone's vanished in these woods. The ranger's bulletin board back by the lot has a few yellowed photos. Campers who wandered off, decades apart, but always near this same lake. Locals call it Stillwater, though no one remembers if that's its real name. Supposedly, the water's so calm because it doesn't move. The wind crosses it, but the surface never ripples, not even when rain falls. You reach the edge of the shore. The prints end 2 feet from the waterline. The lake mirrors the trees perfectly, upside down, unmoving. Someone tosses a pebble. It doesn't skip. It doesn't even make a splash, just disappears like it's been swallowed whole. The group starts whispering theories, sleepwalking, hallucination, foul play. You keep quiet, because you see something the others don't. A faint line of wet footprints leading back from the lake toward the fire pit. Smaller, bare, and pointing the wrong direction. When you mention it, they laugh nervously, call it your imagination. But that night, everyone keeps their tent zipped tighter. Nobody goes for a walk. Nobody volunteers to fetch more firewood. The jokes die faster than the flame. And yet, right before dawn, you hear the tent zipper again, not yours. Then the slow rhythm of footsteps, moving around the camp, circling once, twice, and stopping right outside your canvas wall. You can almost feel the weight of someone standing there, deciding whether to call your name or just wait until you come out on your own. When morning returns, there are no new footprints. The earth's untouched, as if the forest corrected itself overnight. Only one thing has changed. The empty tent is gone. Not collapsed, not torn, gone. It's strange how quickly humans adapt to absence. By midday, the group has half convinced itself there never was a missing camper. You even start to believe it too, until you look at the fire pit. Among the gray ash and burnt wood, there's something new. A single boot print pressed into the soot, perfectly centered. And the funny thing? It's not pointing out toward the woods. It's pointing in. Psychologists like to call it collective delusion. When fear runs through a group, the brain starts editing memory to protect itself. Details vanish. People rewrite what they saw. But there's another theory, less popular, more whispered, that sometimes when the woods take someone, they don't erase the person. They erase the space they once occupied. And if that's true, then what's sitting beside you now by the fire? The shadow whose name you can't quite recall might just be the shape of that missing space, pretending to still be human. The fire crackles again, hungry. The air smells faintly of lake water. And though you never notice when it starts, you do realize too late that everyone stopped talking all at once, like they're waiting for something or someone to speak first. The woods change sound after loss. You'd think they'd grow quieter, but no. Every rustle feels amplified, every whisper sharper. By the third night, even the wind sounds like it's breathing through teeth. Someone insists on moving camp closer to the main trail, just for peace of mind. You nod, pretending not to notice how everyone packs faster than usual. The air feels heavier the deeper you go, like the trees are pressing inward, closing off the sky. It's during this move that you first hear it. A low, drawn-out whistle winding through the pines. Not a song, not random, measured, deliberate. You tell yourself it's another camper, maybe a hiker trying to signal their group. But the tone is wrong, too slow, too even, as if it's pacing you. You stop, just to test it. The whistle stops too. It resumes when you walk again. At first, the others think you're joking. You whistle a note back, a nervous little mimicry, and for a second, there's nothing. Then it returns. Same pitch, same rhythm, only now it's closer. No one laughs this time. You make it to the new site before dark, hurriedly pitching tents and lighting the fire. The trees creak overhead like old bones shifting. Someone hums under their breath to mask the silence, but the melody turns off-key halfway through, as if the forest has started harmonizing on its own. Later, you're sitting by the fire again, pretending to be calm. The crackling logs drown out most sounds, but every so often, you catch it, just beyond the flicker's edge, that same slow whistle weaving through the dark. It's higher now, almost soft enough to pass as wind. Almost. You remember an old story your grandfather told about a wanderer in the northern woods who could lure animals with a whistle that mimicked their breathing. Said the trick wasn't the sound, but the timing, matching each inhale, each exhale, until whatever was listening forgot where its own rhythm ended. He said that's how the forest learned to mimic people too. Someone jokes that maybe it's a bird. Another suggests an echo, but when you try clapping, the sound doesn't come back. There's no echo here, just the forest swallowing everything whole. You all turn in early, yet no one really sleeps. You lie in your tent, the nylon wall thin as skin, listening. The fire outside dies down to embers. The night breathes, low and even. Then faintly, the whistle again. But this time, it matches you. Each breath you take, it answers. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And then, suddenly, it skits. Whistles before you breathe out, like it's learned the pattern and decided to lead instead of follow. You freeze, holding your breath, waiting for it to stop. The silence stretches long enough for you to believe it's gone. And then something moves. A faint crunch of soil, a twig snapping underfoot. You don't open your eyes. You don't need to. You can tell it's close. When morning comes, there's dew on your tent, thicker than before. You unzip it slowly and find the ground around the camp disturbed by small arcs in the dirt, almost circular, like someone pacing while whistling. You count them without meaning to. 6 perfect loops around your tent. The others swear they didn't hear a thing, but everyone looks tired, jittery. Breakfast is silent. You half expect to find footprints, but instead, you find something worse. A feather, pale and slick, balanced perfectly on your boot. You reach to pick it up and realize it's warm. Later, as you hike to refill your water bottles, you hum quietly to yourself, just to fill the air. A reflex. And when you stop, the forest hums the next line for you. Psychologists say humans are wired to find patterns in noise, to anthropomorphize randomness as a way of feeling control. Maybe, or maybe the forest just learned your voice. The way it learns a bird's song or a predator's scent. By dusk, the whistle has stopped. The silence feels earned, like the woods are digesting something. That night, as the fire burns low, someone mentions they keep dreaming of the same sound, a soft, hollow note that rises from under the ground. They say it feels like the forest itself exhaling after a long wait. You pretend not to hear. You poke the fire instead, watching sparks rise and vanish into the black. One catches the air, glowing longer than it should, spiraling up, until it stops midair and drops straight down, as if pulled. And faintly, far off, almost too soft to notice, the whistle starts again. You start seeing the light on the fourth night. At first, you assume it's a reflection, a flashlight beam glancing off wet bark, maybe a camper's lantern from another site. But no matter where you move, the glow keeps its distance, hovering at the same height, the same soft pulse, as though waiting for acknowledgement. The others don't see it at first. They're too busy arguing about maps, directions, anything to distract themselves from the growing sense that the woods have shifted. But when you point, and they finally follow your gaze, the conversation stops mid-word. There it is, a faint orange shimmer, flickering deep between the pines. Not firelight. Its pulse is too steady, too deliberate. Someone suggests going to check. Someone else says no. You don't vote, you just stare. Because here's the thing, every time you blink, the light moves. Not closer, not farther, but sideways. Like it's circling the group. And when the breeze brushes your cheek, it smells faintly of smoke and something sweet, like burning sap. You all stay up late, pretending not to notice it. Jokes get quieter. The music stays off. Nobody talks about last night's whistling, but you feel it in the pauses, the shared relief that at least tonight, it's only light. Only light. Around midnight, someone finally breaks. "I'll go," they say, standing up too quickly. It's probably some hiker's camp. You want to stop them, but your tongue sticks to the roof of your mouth. The others don't move either. You all just watch as they walk into the trees, flashlight swinging. The beam cuts through branches, hits fog, then vanishes. Minutes pass. The light remains, unwavering. When your friend's beam finally reappears, it's angled upward, shaking, catching flashes of the treetops. You hear a voice, half a laugh, half a breathless sound that could mean anything. Then, silence. You call out, softly at first, then louder. The forest absorbs it all. The light flickers once, twice, and then it splits. One glow becomes two. The second is brighter, paler, bluer, and it moves like a person walking back toward you. Except when the figure steps into view, the face is wrong. Not monstrous, just unfinished. A blur of shadow and skin tones that never quite decide what they are. You freeze. Everyone does. The figure pauses at the edge of the clearing, tilts its head slightly, and you realize the light you've been watching isn't behind it. It's inside it. A lantern burning where a heart should be. Someone screams. Someone runs. You don't. You just sit there, paralyzed by something colder than fear. Fascination. Because for a moment, you think you recognize the glow. You've seen it before, long ago, in every story about phantom fires, miners' lights, or ghost lanterns carried by those who died searching for a way home. The figure lifts a hand. The motion is smooth, almost kind. Then the lantern dims, slowly, until it's just the faintest red pulse, like a heartbeat, fading out. When it disappears completely, the night returns all at once. Crickets, wind, breath. You realize you've been holding yours. No one speaks for the rest of the night. You all sit awake, guarding the fire as though it's the only thing keeping you tethered to reality. And maybe it is. Because when dawn comes, the footprints return. Not human, not animal, just round impressions pressed deep into the soil, forming a ring around your camp. At breakfast, someone mutters, "It didn't want us. It wanted light." You almost laugh, but your throat burns when you try. Later that day, you pass a clearing with an old wooden sign, barely readable beneath the moss. Ash Hollow. Campground closed. Incident 1998. Below it, half hidden, there's a smaller sign, hand-carved and splintered. If it glows, don't follow. If it waits, don't stop. You tell yourself you won't look back. But that night, as you crawl into your tent, you see it again. Faint orange light filtering through the nylon, hovering just beyond the tree line. And in its flicker, you could swear you see someone standing there. Someone familiar. The next morning, when you unzip the tent, you find a lantern placed neatly outside your door. Its glass is cracked, its wick is still warm, and inside, burned into the soot, is a handprint. Yours. Psychologists argue whether will-o'-the-wisp phenomena are real, some claiming it's just gases igniting in swamp air, others swearing they've seen the lights lead people off trails that no longer exist. But the question that lingers is simpler. If those flames are only chemical, why do they move like they remember you? You kick dirt over the lantern, trying to bury the glow, but it keeps seeping through the cracks like something that refuses to stay dark. And when night falls again, the forest hums, not with whistles, not with voices, but with a low electric flicker, pulsing softly in the same rhythm as your heart. By now, the woods feel like a maze you've walked before. Not because you recognize the trees, though some look disturbingly familiar, but because each turn feels rehearsed, as if someone already wrote the route. The trail narrows, curling around rocks slick with moss. The air smells different, wet earth and something faintly metallic. You spot the clearing first, an old campsite swallowed by overgrowth. A rusted ring of stones hints at a fire long gone out. There's a hollow tree at its center, thick and split at the base, like it was struck by lightning years ago. You kneel, brushing aside leaves and ash. That's when you see it, carved deep into the bark. A message. One must stay, so the rest can leave. The others gather around, murmuring. Someone jokes it's just old graffiti. Someone else whispers that it's a warning. You feel both answers are true. You reach into the hollow. It's dry inside, deeper than expected. Your hand touches something smooth. Wood, then metal, then paper. You pull it free. A small wooden box with a latch, rusted shut. Beneath it lies a folded note, yellowed and soft. You open it carefully. The handwriting's uneven, almost frantic. We waited till dawn. The light came back. We thought it wanted fire. We were wrong. It wanted names. We left ours here, one to keep, one to carry. Inside the box, under a layer of ash, are 6 small objects. A compass, a watch, a tooth, a metal tag, a ring and a fragment of mirror. Beneath them, more writing, faintly scratched into the bottom. Don't take what's been promised. You feel everyone's gaze on you as you close the lid. The irony bites. 6 objects, 6 of you left. You try to laugh, to say something clever, but your voice feels detached. The group debates whether to move on, but it's already dusk, and the light's fading fast. You stay. That night, you light a small fire in the old ring. The heat doesn't reach far. It feels like the flames are burning inward instead of out. You take turns telling stories to stay awake, though each tale starts to sound the same. People hearing their own voices, seeing their own reflections where they shouldn't. Around midnight, the forest goes still. No wind, no crickets. The only sound is the fire and your own pulse, fast and uneven. Then comes the whistle. Not distant this time, but low, behind you. You turn, expecting the glow from before. But what you see instead freezes you. A figure standing at the hollow tree, half hidden in shadow. It's holding the wooden box. No one moves. The figure opens the lid, sets one object, just one, on the ground, then vanishes into the dark. You inch forward. The firelight wavers over the dirt. It's the fragment of mirror, now cracked straight down the middle. You lean closer, and for a second, you see your reflection in it. Your face lit by flame, eyes hollow. Something standing behind you that doesn't quite belong. You drop it. The shard lands face down. Someone whispers, "It's a pact." You don't ask what they mean. By morning, the hollow tree looks different. The bark has sealed itself around the opening, like it never split at all. The box is gone. So is one of your group. You search until the sun is high, calling, following the faintest trails, but every path loops back to the clearing. The fire rings cold, though you swore you saw smoke moments ago. Back at camp, everyone avoids each other's eyes. You all know what you saw, or didn't see. You all remember the words carved into the wood. That night, the fire refuses to light. No spark catches. The air feels thick, charged, like the forest is holding its breath. So you stop trying. You sit in the dark, listening. Somewhere in the distance, a branch snaps, then another. Slow, deliberate, not approaching, circling. You whisper a name that used to belong to one of you. The sound feels wrong in your mouth, like the syllables aren't yours to speak anymore. No one replies, not from the tents, not from the trees. And when you finally drift towards sleep, you dream of standing in front of that hollow tree again. Only now, the carving has changed. 2 must stay, 4 may leave. Psychologists still argue about the exchange delusion. That humans create sacrifices in stories to rationalize survival guilt. But you know what you saw. You know the forest doesn't bargain, it collects. And somewhere behind your eyelids, that glowing light flickers once more, just enough to remind you that it hasn't forgotten your name, even if you've started to forget everyone else's. By the time you reach the next site, the map looks wrong. The lines that marked the creek have shifted, or maybe your eyes have. You can hear the water before you see it, a steady rush, cold and alive. But when you step out of the trees, something's off. The creek is moving, but it's silent. No burble, no splash against stone. Just motion without sound, like watching a muted video of nature. Maybe it's the wind, someone says. Though there is no wind, you watch the current slide past your boots, fast enough to drag leaves, but not a single ripple makes noise. You dip a stick in, it comes out wet but clean, like the water never touched it. The forest feels heavier here. The trees are denser, and the light filtering through the canopy looks distorted, bent around something invisible. You can't tell if it's late afternoon or early night. Across the creek, something glints. You squint. It's a lantern, just like the one from before. It sways once, then stops. You blink. It's gone. No one speaks, not for a long time. Eventually, someone says what you're all thinking. We should leave. But the trail behind you, gone. The path you followed here, nothing but ferns and moss now. Even the footprints are missing. The silent creek becomes your only landmark, so you follow it upstream. Hours pass. The deeper you go, the more the silence spreads. Your voices fade until even your own footsteps make no sound. It's like walking inside a photograph. When you finally stop, the group is pale, drained. Someone mouths, "I can't hear." You nod, but your breath comes shallow because you can feel something humming beneath the silence. Not sound, but vibration. Like the earth is murmuring under your feet, a low pulse trying to rise through the stillness. You crouch by the bank and press your palm to the ground. The vibration sharpens. It feels like a heartbeat, enormous and slow. And then, from the corner of your eye, you see movement under the water. Shapes, many of them, drifting just beneath the surface. Not fish, not shadows. Human-like outlines, eyes open, faces blank, moving with the current that makes no sound. You try to step back, but your body feels heavy, like the air has thickened into syrup. Someone grabs your sleeve, points upstream. The creek ends abruptly, not in rocks or falls, but in a perfect circle of black water, a pool too dark to reflect. There's something floating in the middle, the same wooden box. You don't remember crossing, but suddenly it's in your hands. The latch clicks open on its own. Inside, the 6 objects are gone. In their place is a scrap of wet bark with words carved shallowly into it. Silence keeps it sleeping. The hum beneath your feet grows louder, a tremor now, as if the earth is warning you or pleading. You drop the box, it lands soundlessly. And then the creek stops moving. The water freezes in place, every droplet suspended mid-flow. The trees lean inward. For a heartbeat, it's as if the forest itself is holding you in a breath you can't release. Then the silence breaks, not with sound, but with a feeling. Pressure, immense and crushing, like standing beneath miles of ocean. You feel it crawl into your chest, through your ears, down your spine. When it ends, you're back at camp. The creek is gone. Everyone is staring at the fire pit, which now burns silently, flames dancing, but giving no heat. You realize one of you is missing again. No one says it out loud, but you all feel the same thing. The forest is making room. That night, you dream of the creek again. Only this time, you're underwater, looking up. The surface above you ripples once, and from the other side, something presses back. When you wake, your pillow is damp, your ears are ringing, and the faint hum hasn't stopped. It's inside you now, steady, like a second pulse, and for the first time, you understand what the note meant. The forest doesn't want your sound, it wants your silence. You wake before dawn, though it's hard to say how long you've been asleep. The air feels wrong again, warmer, heavier. The forest no longer smells like pine and dirt, but like wet ash and something metallic. When you unzip the tent, the world looks rearranged. The fire pit is gone. The trees are closer, too close, bending toward you as if they've been eavesdropping all night. Someone says the name, Ashwood Camp, and it freezes everyone mid-breath. That name wasn't supposed to mean anything. You hadn't said it out loud since last summer. The one time you came here before. The one time someone didn't come back. The air thickens with the memory you've tried to forget. The night the forest burned without fire, when every compass spun and you heard your friend screaming from beneath the ground. The authorities said, sinkhole. You know it wasn't. The forest took him. Now, somehow, you're back here. You try to convince yourself the path just looped around, but the old wooden sign, half buried, cracked and blackened, says it clearly, Ashwood Camp, EST, 1956. There's a scorch mark beneath it, shaped like a handprint. You tell the others you'll leave at first light, but light never comes. The sky brightens to a sickly gray, then fades again. It's as though the forest has forgotten how to make morning. When you turn around, you see a figure at the tree line. Too tall, too still. The kind of silhouette that feels posed. The others don't see it yet. You blink and it's closer. Its head tilts in a slow, unnatural angle, studying you. Then you remember something. The rumor that anyone who returned to Ashwood after the fire would find the one they lost. Not alive, not dead, just waiting. A laugh escapes your throat before you realize it's yours. The sound feels foreign, cracked. Maybe he's just here, you whisper. Maybe that's what this place does. It gives you back what it took. You know it's a lie, but the forest loves lies. They taste like permission. The ground begins to tremble again, like the heartbeat under the silent creek. Only now it's stronger. You can feel it under your soles, through your teeth. The trees shiver as if exhaling. And then, for the first time since arriving, the silence breaks. A voice, thin and dragging, calls your name from the woods. Not shouted, whispered, drawn out, syllable by syllable. You freeze. Everyone does. It's the missing camper. the one you left behind last year. He steps into view, barefoot, covered in soot, but smiling. There's something wrong about the smile. It stretches too long, like a face remembering how to imitate joy. His voice is raw, but steady. "Why'd you come back?" No one answers. You can't. The words tangle in your throat. He takes another step, and the ground beneath him ripples, like fabric instead of soil. "It's still hungry," he says softly. It doesn't like silence anymore. Behind him, the trees twist. The bark peels in long ribbons. You see faces pressed beneath, eyes open, lips moving soundlessly under the wood. Every trunk around you hums like a buried throat. The forest is breathing. You stumble backward and trip over something. An old metal box, rusted but familiar. It's the same one, the same latch. But this time, it's already open. Inside, 6 new objects. You don't touch them, not yet, but you recognize one, a burned compass. Another, a torn sleeping bag tag with your friend's initials. Then a handful of gray ash shaped like a handprint. The missing camper, the thing wearing his voice, leans closer. It remembers everything you buried. Someone behind you whispers, "We didn't bury anything." The smile widens. "Didn't you?" Then he tilts his head back, and the forest goes dark. Not night, just absence. Every sound, every trace of warmth, ripped away. The air feels like wet stone. You clutch the open box without knowing why. Maybe instinct. Maybe the same pull that brought you back here. And somewhere in that darkness, a match flares. Not yours. For a single heartbeat, you see them all. Every camper, every hiker who vanished in these woods, standing in a ring around the camp, their faces smooth and featureless. Then the light dies, and you're alone again. Except, the forest is still breathing, and for the first time, it breathes in. The sound pulls the air from your lungs, a single collective inhale that empties you out. You hear trees groaning, soil cracking, the faint echo of that silent creak returning in reverse. Then, nothing. Just the echo of your heartbeat, and the forests answering it. 2 rhythms, syncing. The night doesn't end, it just waits. And in that waiting, you begin to realize, maybe you never left Ashwood Camp. Maybe you just stopped noticing when the forest learned your name. You don't remember lighting the fire. You only notice it when it's already burning, a strange, steady flame that moves too slowly, the color more white than orange. Its glow bending the air around it like heat above asphalt. The others sit in a loose circle, but no one meets anyone's eyes. You count them quietly and realize the numbers don't match. Too many shadows, too few faces. The flame makes no sound, but you can feel it. Not the warmth of fire, more like a pulse. The same pulse that's been humming beneath your feet since the creek, since the handprint, since the forest learned to breathe. Someone mutters, "It's the last night." You don't know who said it. You don't even know if it came from a person. Across the circle, a shape shifts. The missing camper, or what's left of him, sits down among you as if he never left. His clothes are dry now, his hands clean. He smiles, calm and empty. "You brought it back," he says. You look at the open box on your lap. Inside, the 6 objects burn faintly, not melting, just glowing from within. A twig, a compass, a torn piece of map, a photograph, a key, and something that looks like a tooth, though human teeth don't have roots that move. You whisper, "What do I do with them?" He shakes his head. You already did. And then it hits you. The stories, all 6 of them, weren't separate. They were summons. Each tale opened another door. Each fear carved another path into the wood's memory. Every time you told the story, it listened. Every campfire is a mouth, you realize. Every flame, a tongue. Every listener, a sacrifice disguised as an audience. The missing camper turns toward the fire and whispers something you can't catch. The flame bends toward him like a creature recognizing its maker. Then he stands, his body casting no shadow. You rise too, though you don't mean to. The air hums, soft but immense. The forest presses closer, as if waiting for permission to exhale again. "Tell it," he says. "Tell the last story." You open your mouth. Nothing comes out. Then, without meaning to, you begin anyway. Your voice cracks the silence like glass breaking underwater. You speak of the night you arrived, the 6 objects, the creek, the breath beneath the soil. You tell of Ashwood's hunger, of how it trades voices for silence, bodies for echoes. The more you speak, the brighter the fire becomes. Not flames now, but shapes writhing within them. They look like people. Your throat burns, but you can't stop. The story pours out, thick and heavy, as if something inside you is being pulled out by force. Every word feeds the fire. Every word makes the shadows around you lean closer. By the time you finish, the missing camper is gone. So is everyone else. Only the fire remains. You're alone, standing before it. The forest completely still. The flame flickers once more. And inside it, you see yourself. Not your reflection, but your other self. The version that never left the creek. Still standing knee-deep in the silent water. Still holding the open box. That version looks up, smiles faintly, and mouths. Now you understand. The flame collapses inward, like it's swallowing itself. A rush of cold sweeps through the clearing. The sound returns. Wind, leaves, the distant hum of insects. And for the first time in nights, the forest feels alive again. But your tent is gone. Your bag, your footprints, everything that says you were ever here. The clearing is empty, except for the blackened circle of soil where the fire burned. In its center lies the wooden box, lid closed, latch sealed. You kneel, reach out, and this time you don't open it. You leave it there, beneath the stars that look almost real. When you turn to go, a faint voice drifts from behind you. Calm, deliberate, eerily familiar. Good, someone else will need it. You walk until dawn, though you never see the sun rise. Only gray light filtering through endless trees. And when you finally step out of the forest, you don't look back. Not because you're brave, but because you know the forest isn't behind you anymore. It's following, quietly, patiently, waiting for the next story to begin. You've made it through the dark now, or at least you think you have. But before you close your eyes tonight, ask yourself, how much of what you just heard was memory, and how much was warning? Because the truth about these stories isn't that they happen in the woods. It's that they happen after, when you tell someone else, when the words leave your mouth, when the forest hears its name again. It listens every time a match flares, every time laughter turns uneasy, every time a voice trembles while saying, "Remember that story about the campers?" That's all it takes. A retelling, a whisper, a spark. So if you're hearing a faint hum now, just under the sound of your breathing, don't worry. It's not in your head. It's the echo you carried back. It's the forest remembering you, the way you remembered it. Keep your lights low. Don't speak after midnight. And if you ever smell ash where there's no fire, run. Because not every story stays in the woods. Some of them follow the storyteller home. Sweet dreams, camper. And try not to listen too closely.